Assalamu alaikum. Hi, Oracle Reiki Spiritual Healer. And today we are talking about the prophets, certain prophets that were taken up in the sky. So, as I was doing my research, and we all know I like talking about the prophets. So, peace be upon the prophets. So, as I was doing my research in both of the books, it only gave me two prophets from the Holy Bible that were taken up into the sky. And those prophets were Enoch, Prophet Enoch, peace be on him. And we have Elijah, peace be on him. But there is a third prophet that was taken up that is sort of mentioned in the Holy Book of the Holy Bible, but it is not mentioned as being a prophet taken up by God. Because largely, a lot of the Christians believe that this prophet was crucified. But we'll get to that. So we want to talk about, Prophet Enoch. Enoch walked with God. And Enoch walked with God and he was taken up by God. So that means he must have been pretty cool with God. He must have been obedient. He must have been, one of those prophets who could have an understanding of things, of situations. He was one of those prophets that possessed vision. And he could, relay to other people what God wanted him to relay or do what God wanted him to do. So we want to try to mimic that behavior when we find prophets like that. And just to put the cream on the crop, he was taken up by God. He did not die. In other words, he did not die. So now let's move on to Elijah. Elijah was a prophet that was taken up by God in his chariot. They say in a chariot of fire, he went up in the sky, and his successor was Elisha, saw him go up in the sky in his chariot. And his cape dropped off of him while he was ascending in the sky, and Elisha picked that cape up and put it on. So he had that cape to let people know that he was Elijah's successor because God took him up. So we want to understand some of the miracles that Elijah did upon the earth. So he was able to heal people. He healed a widow's son after he had passed. He was able to multiply a widow's food with, I think, her oil and her flour. So you will find in a lot of these prophets that some of them possess the same kind of gifts. So we understand that, healing the sick, these are gifts given from God. These are miracles given from God. And, they were so obedient in their belief, in their understanding of what God had. And like I always say, you never know who is a close friend of God or a close friend of the angels. And they were so close that God took them up into the sky. So we want to also understand that, when we are talking about these prophets, then we're also talking about stigmata. And I have done a video on stigmata. That, your proximity to the prophets, your training, your proximity to God, your proximity to the angels, and understanding your gifts, and being, definite in healing people and relaying to the people what God would have you relate, whether they think you crazy or not. In a lot of places in your life, in a lot of families and a lot of towns and communities, they'll call you crazy because you have personal downloads from God. You're being assisted by the angels, and so therefore they don't have that, and they'll call you crazy. But I digress with that. So, here we go. The third prophet is Jesus. And I know all of you were saying that. I knew all of you were saying that Jesus was the third prophet. So, we have miracles that Jesus did. And I'm just giving you this off the dome because I wanted you to have what I had been studying. So we want to make sure that, let's see if I wrote some notes down for Jesus, because we know that he healed the leopard, he healed the sick, he healed the blind man. And he was able to also perform miracles for the disciples by asking God for the table outspread. And there is a surah in the Holy Quran named after him, that miracle that he performed by asking God for that food, the table outspread. But there are other miracles that, we have to understand that's not given by the Holy Bible. And this account of Jesus being taken up is, somewhat given by the Holy Bible, because it says when, they rolled away the stone, he wasn't there. But we as a Muslim, we don't believe that God allowed any harm to come to him. He wasn't allowed to be unalived by his enemies. So therefore, he was taken up. So we have this understanding, but we have other miracles that happened with the baby Jesus, that when his mother Mary approached the people with this immaculate conception, this immaculate birth, that, in that time they would harm women, and they were, defaming her or trying to, say something, trying to attack her. And so she pointed at the baby Jesus, and the baby Jesus spoke to them and defended his mother, and they were not able to attack his mother. So these are miracles that Jesus performed even from a baby. So these are the way that we understand that, sometimes all the holy books may not have all the information. You may have to go to different holy books to learn about different prophets. But what we do understand is that, Jesus is in both holy books, and we believe in Jesus. We believe in Elijah. We believe in Enoch. And all three of them were taken up by God. And the reason that we know this about Jesus is because even after, they said that he was unalived in the Bible, there are several places in the Bible where they say that they saw him. He was physically seen. So therefore, we know that, he was not unalived. He was taken up by God as well. So I wanted to just share this with you, some of the miracles and some of the things that I study on a regular basis. And, we're going to get into this with other prophets. I hope that you are enjoying this channel, and I want you to reach out to me so that we can have an in-depth conversation, about what the holy books say. We want to go with what facts are. We don't want to go with how we feel. A lot of people like to come and approach me with how they feel. And, I tend to rely on the book. I tend to rely on God. So these are our ways of understanding, about these prophets, these, miracles that they perform. And so we want to be like the prophets. We want to be able to heal our brothers and sisters, to bring the word from God, to walk with God like Enoch. We want to be able to not only walk with God again, but to be able to have a communication and have an understanding of what is being said, what we need to relay, what we need to heal among our brothers and sisters. So, when we rely on God, when we have that faith in God, when we have that understanding, when we believe in the prophets that have a tendency to point us towards God, to rely on God, then we have that understanding that this is our purpose in life. The praise, the fear, the understanding, the guidance, the leadership from God. And we're able to communicate what God wants us to communicate, what he wants us to heal. And we're not afraid of not looking like, we're a part of, the in crowd. We're not afraid of being isolated. We're not afraid of being those who want to be superior, want to walk in pride up on the earth, want to, show how arrogant they can be. We're not interested in that, because we're interested in what God has given us. We're interested in developing our gifts, for the greatness of our people and helping them. And having the mercy that is given to us from God, the compassion, in our hearts, the empathy that we will automatically have. So this is why we want to always, separate ourselves from those entities, from those people who want to align with the shayateen, who want to sell their gifts, because, we're talking about the cream of the crop prophets. The best. We're at that time, they were the best at that time. So we want to make sure that we are trying to mimic their behavior and get the closeness of God, get the closeness, of the angels, the guidance from the angels. We're trying to get the best way that we can develop ourselves and our people and our skills. And I hope you have received this message. Please like, share, and subscribe to me over all of my platforms. You can book your one-on-one sessions with me. Leave a comment for me. Donate to my channel. You can book your one-on-one sessions for me to acclimate a gift to your situation. Book your life coaching sessions with me, or your video chat sessions. I'm High Oracle, Reiki spiritual healer. Assalamu alaikum.